We're often told that managing money is about math spreadsheets, market trends, and ROI. But the truth? It's about how you behave. Today, I'm breaking down the most important book I've ever read on personal finance, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This isn't about how to pick stocks. It's about the 19 core human biases that either lead us to wealth or keep us trapped in a cycle of stress. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned investor, this framework will change the way you view your bank account forever. We are taught that finance is a game of math, a world of spreadsheets, compound interest formulas, and market volatility. We think that if we just learn the right equations, we'll become wealthy. But if that were true, there would be no poor people. The reality is that financial success is not a hard science. It's a soft skill. It's a study of human behavior. Today, we're unpacking Morgan Housel's Times: The Psychology of Money, a book that fundamentally shifts the focus from times to invest to times to behave. Over the next 15 minutes, we're going to cover the 19 short stories that make up this masterpiece and turn them into a framework for your life. Part 1. The Lucky and the Crazy. Housel starts with a truth that offends most people. Luck and risk are siblings. You see a billionaire and think they're a genius. You see a failure and think they're lazy. But the world is too complex to credit your success entirely to your own efforts or blame your failure entirely on your choices. He introduces the concept of the tail end. Most of what happens in the markets and in life is driven by rare outlier events. Then there's the crazy factor. Housel writes, "No one is crazy. If you grew up in a household where your parents lost everything in a market crash, your relationship with risk is permanently scarred. If you grew up during a boom, you view the market differently. We all make decisions based on our unique, narrow experience of the world. The lesson here? Stop judging others for their financial choices. You haven't lived their life." Part 2. Wealth versus rich. This is the most important distinction in the book. Being rich versus being wealthy. Being rich. This is current income. It's the fancy car, the designer watch, the expensive house. It is visible. It is the ego. Being wealthy. This is what you don't see. It's the unspent income. It's the assets that haven't been converted into the things you see in magazines. Wealth is the fuel for freedom. When you buy a luxury item, you are essentially trading your future freedom for a moment of status. Housel argues that the best way to be wealthy is to resist the urge to show it off. If you are struggling to save, it is often because you are trying to impress people who don't actually care about you. Part 3. The Magic of Compounding and Time. Let's talk about Warren Buffett. Most people think his success is due to picking the right stocks. Housel points out that 90% of his wealth came times after times he turned 65. The secret wasn't just good investing, it was consistent investing for 75 years. This brings us to the concept of getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Getting wealthy requires risk-taking and optimism. Staying wealthy requires the exact opposite: paranoia, humility, and the fear that what you've built can be taken away. To stay wealthy, you need to survive. And to survive, you need to leave room for error, what engineers call a margin of safety. Never bet the farm on one outcome. Part 4. The Seduction of Pessimism and Knowing Enough. Why do we listen to pessimists more than optimists? Because pessimism sounds smart. It sounds like someone is trying to help you. Optimism, on the other hand, sounds like a sales pitch. But progress happens in the face of constant setbacks. The market crashes, the economy stalls, but over time, it trends upward. You must be able to endure the short-term pain to capture the long-term gain. And finally, the hardest skill, knowing when to stop. We live in a world that constantly moves the goalposts. If your definition of enough is always a little bit more, you are on a treadmill that never ends. True success is defining your enough and having the courage to step off the treadmill of comparison. Conclusion. 1. Be humble when things go well and be forgiving when they don't. 2. Save more money than you think you need. 3. Prioritize your time. If your money buys you the ability to wake up when you want and work on what you want, you have succeeded. The psychology of money times isn't about beating the S&P 500. It's about not beating yourself up, staying rational when others are panicking, and building a life where your money serves times you, not the other way around. If you take one thing away from this 15-minute session, let it be this. Financial planning is not about your bank account, it's about your identity. Build a story you're proud of, and the money will follow. Thanks for listening. As we talk about the psychology of money, the biggest hurdle most of us face is moving from knowing what to do to actually doing it. Consistency is the secret ingredient that turns small habits into life-changing results. To keep myself consistent, I've started using the Naora B6 Dated Planner 2026. What I love about this is that it's not just a calendar. It features a dedicated budget and expense tracker that allows you to manage your income, spending, and savings in a single, structured system. It also includes a circular habit tracker, which is a perfect visual way to monitor the financial habits we've discussed today. If you're serious about building a more organized life and actually hitting those financial goals this year, you can find this planner at the link in my description. It's a physical, tactile tool that helps you stay on track and maintain the discipline needed for long-term wealth. To wrap up our deep dive into the psychology of money, success isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the most patient and the most rational. Remember, financial success is a soft skill. It's about humility, staying humble when you win, and keeping your head when you lose. If you take one thing from this 5-minute summary, let it be this: define your enough before someone else defines it for you. If you found value in this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more people find this content. And tell me in the comments, what is one financial habit you're trying to build this year? I read every single one of them. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.